All right, so we're rolling, Mike.
Thanks, Ian.
You're welcome.
Awkward.
Awkward. So welcome to another After Drive, BRZ or That. This is the segment where you guys tell us whether the BRZ or some other car is the right move. We've got Ian, of course. JF Musial's here, and that's today on After Drive, BRZ or That. So you guys already know what BRZ or That is because I just told you. Ian Whalen's with us, JF Musial's here, and what's the car that's going up against the BRZ this week? Wait a minute, there's the BRZ.
Yeah. And
All right, wait a minute, I'm gonna give you a hint. What kinds of shoes do clowns wear?
Nikes?
Birkenstocks.
Nikes, Birkenstocks. Really? You're gonna make me work for this? Like, it's not even a good joke, and I gotta work for it?
They wear clown shoes.
Thank you very much.
They wear clown shoes.
Clown shoes. Look at that.
Shoes.
So that's today. BRZ or That with the BMW M-Coupe. First generation on BRZ or That. First generation, of course, being two separate engines. We're going to talk about that in a second. Mm-hmm. So the clown shoe against the BRZ today. Mm-hmm. Ian just drove a clown shoe.
Yes, I
did. A little bit later version, which we'll talk about in a second. JF, executive producer of Drive, is a fan of the clown shoe?
Most certainly a fan. I'm trying to think of the last time I drove a Z3 of any kind.
For me, of course, the clown shoe is like the holy grail of BMWs because awesome driving experience, crazy looking, just looks insane, kind of, you know, if it's a love it or hate it thing, and I happen to love it just because it's awkward looking, and
well, kind of when we think about it, they designed it in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So the design was like very...
Actually, they designed it in the 30s. The Little Rascals designed it. They put a barrel and a peach crate together, and they went down the hill on it.
I think it still has a kind of a modern look. It doesn't look like exactly like a modern car that you'd see coming out now, but it still holds up, I think.
Yeah, well, you know the story of it, right? So the M engineers went a little bit rogue. The Z3 came out, and being a roadster wasn't exactly as stiff as a performance driver, say, would want it to be, right? Had a little bit of scuttle shake.
James Bond didn't really care about that, though.
James Bond, yeah. GoldenEye?
Yeah.
Bad product placement. That movie.
Well, by the way, probably
bad.
the worst Bond car ever, the 1.9, the 1.9 liter Z3. But again,
this makes up
Pierce
for it.
Brosnan. I like Pierce Brosnan, but not as Bond. But anyway, that's a whole other story. So engineers went rogue, built this on their off time. This is sort of the legend of the M-Coupe. Took it to BMW management and said, "Can we build this?" And they said, "Yes, we must build this." No, they didn't say it quite like that.
But they had to keep costs down a lot.
But they had to keep costs down. Yeah. So they shared a lot of body parts, and they shared a fair amount of underpinnings with the
more standard Z3.
Standard Z3, right, exactly. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the specs. So you guys know BRZ already, 2-liter flat 4, 200 horsepower at 7,000, 151 pound-feet at 6,400, 2,700 pounds, fairly light, 30 grand around, 28 grand, all in. All right, so the two phases of the first gen M-Coupe, the S52 motor, right? So if you're that BMW nerd, you know that it's the 3.2 liter rounded up. Mm-hmm. It was 3.13 something. This obviously is the US version because Europeans got the better engine, the S50, 300 and something horsepower. So, but 3,000 pounds,
it's
not
amazing
terribly
how heavy the car is compared to the BRZ. It really emphasizes the focus of modern cars, just trying to get lighter, trying to reduce the weight of the, not taking a substantial material, but rather using better materials and better architecture.
Yeah. Did you say material?
Material.
That's cool. It's
material.
like no.
No, but it's like it's like Lamborghini saying, we are done focusing on the motors. It is all about materials and all about getting the weight out.
Right.
And then you think about every other industry, and you think about, like, I'm going to bring up aviation right now. You look at the 787, Boeing, Airbus. They're all focused on weight reduction and better material usage.
Right.
And that's a clear indication of that between 10 years, where you've got something at 3,100 pounds, and then you've got a modern car that is, 300 to 400 pounds less. And
arguably,
and
yes.
the performance, we're
and
comparing
arguably an
the performance.
economy car versus a sort of more substantially
Exactly,
engineered
The
BMW.
sports car, yeah.
But this is approaching probably 20 years ago. This thing was in development.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's lots happened in material science
Yeah.
in 20 years.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, so that's it. I mean, basically, if you're a BMW nerd, you're going to really care about this. The differences between these two engines. All right, so very quickly, the last couple of years, it was the S54 motor. So now the S54 is the same as the E46 M3.
Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously horsepower difference, the higher revving, we'll get to that in a second. Torque, a little bit more torque, but also higher in the rev range. So it's actually, you have to rev it out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's more of...
It's a little more high strung.
It's a little more high strung, and it's a car that owners have said that they enjoy it, but sometimes maybe, it depends on who it is, obviously. It may get a little bit tedious to drive around because you're always revving it out. Tedious, one man's tedious is another man's awesome.
To be fair, when I drove the S54 M-Coupe, I actually found that it had a fair amount of low-end torque, or just enough that I didn't have to always rev it up. But
So
when you
maybe-
did, it got really exciting.
So it's another kind of nerdy point, is
Yeah.
that are you, is it really that much of a difference? Because don't forget, 0 to 60 times, it's only about a tenth of a second difference in the 5-second range. So if you want to pay for the more power, a little more torque, more exotic engine, double Vanos valve, variable valve timing. This has single Vanos, right? So
On the
only on
intake
the
side.
intake side. This has it on both sides, intake and exhaust. So, okay, but that's the nerd stuff. Because most of the time, you're going to be considering mostly the
And you'd be enticed by the
S52.
financing, and you'd be enticed by the warranty of the BRZ.
Right, there you go. So
Yeah.
BRZ, enticed by
Or
the benefits of buying a new
GT86
car.
FRS, whatever it may be.
You know what? Like, I love it, but it is awkward. It is pretty awkward.
But why not? I want
But
awkward in my
Why
life.
not? Exactly.
If
All
my
right.
car is more awkward than I am, I'm winning.
That's very true. I feel the same way. Okay, Ian.
So
So recently, tell me about this. This is you.
yeah, that's me in an
Obviously.
S54 M-Coupe.
Can you tell?
Yeah, there's a
someone-
resemblance.
So this is
Resemblance?
S54, right?
Yes,
Okay.
our friend Charles Mosley happens to own a very nice example of the M-Coupe, and it only has about 30,000 miles on it, so it's a pretty good
Really?
example to try.
Yeah.
And he's had it since new, so he offered to let me give it a try. And I had never driven this car before. I didn't know what to expect, but it
You
was
look apprehensive.
And-
I'm just kind of
and-
admiring it. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot. The sound of this car when you rev it up to near red line is very amazing.
Well, that's another thing that S54 devotees say. It's that sort of metallic rasp of.
I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but it reminds me of a race car. I mean, you with the windows down, you just want to keep hearing that sound, and it's of course you're going very quickly by the time you get there on
Legal
public
speeds,
roads.
Legal speeds.
Yes.
Legal
Naturally.
speeds.
Yes,
Always.
of course, legal
10,
speeds.
10,
And
12 miles an hour.
I actually wasn't driving very quickly. I was on a road that I didn't know very well, and I was driving somebody else's car, but I was still able to wind it out a little bit in first and second. I don't know, that alone really got me smiling. And
I mean, is it worth $5,000?
if I were looking
approximately.
if I were looking at these cars, I would have to have the S54.
Wow.
I would have to.
Okay.
Because I would always
Damn.
look.
Snob.
I know the other one's good, but I just want the ultimate expression of any car model that I purchase.
Got it. So
That's
you're
just a
snob.
personal thing. Yeah, I guess I am.
No. I'm not. No, I mean it's.
And that's why I drive a Saab Viggen,
That's
because it's the
what-
highest end.
And you want to know
Drive them.
something? Well, just to finish it off, I would agree. I would look for the S54.
Okay, but the only
as an enthusiast.
the things that you have to think about with the S54, S52, a little easier to maintain. S54 now, like all BMW E46 dudes, and a lot of the talk is about the Conrod bearings,
And also the Vanos system.
and the double Vanos is
They're a little finicky.
finicky, right? Well,
So
that's
you
a good
may need
word,
to
I
get
like.
them rebuilt. There are some other little things, but I think from what I've read, those S4 motors are very good. It's just that you have to be a little bit of an enthusiast and a geek to keep on top of all the services and make sure that they're properly loved.
Yes, and go to Dorkfest because that's well, it's also the Z3 and M-Coupe enthusiast meetup every year.
Yeah, and by the name you could tell that it's probably kind of strange, the stranger subculture of
Totally
BMW.
the place to get laid.
Yeah, the Dorkfest. Those guys are so laid all the time. No, I don't know. I mean, they might, but probably not there. They have to,
It was
they
a
have to go
joke,
somewhere else.
Mike.
I understand. No, I
In
know
any
it was a
way
joke.
motivated.
Anyway, so real quick, shout out to coupeaday.com. I'll put all these links underneath. Bimmerforums.com, obviously to me the best forum. I don't want to get into forum wars.
No forum wars.
BMWblog.com, M5 Manny, go see him. All this stuff will be underneath. That's BRZ or that, but you don't care. You don't care what we think. What do you guys think? Is it the BRZ or
That.
or that? And that
What
being
would you
the
do?
M-Coupe. What would you do? M-Coupe or BRZ?
Cool.
That's After Drive today. We'll see you guys next week. JF, thanks for coming in.
Anytime.
Man. Were you just hanging
I
around
work
here?
13 feet away, so it's not that hard.
So you just stumbled in here?
Yeah.
By accident.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
3 o'clock in the morning.
See you guys next week. That's right.